Charles, thank you so much for having me at your house. Thanks for letting me sleep here since hotels are so expensive. Thank you. Okay, let's get into it. All right, I'm here with my friend Charles. Charles, do you remember how we met?
Yes.
Because I don't. I really don't.
So we were both part of a dance crew brought
Right.
to you by someone else.
Yes.
And we performed through all of LA, like West Hollywood.
Yeah. That's really the first time we met, though?
I don't think we met prior to that.
So
I think we met like at one of the
rehearsals
rehearsals.
for the Cell Block Tango one.
Yes, we did a dance to Cell Block Tango.
Yes.
Not my favorite style, but
We did it.
we did it.
We can add a clip in here where I was running up the stairs to stab you.
Oh my god, I forgot about that. I think I was in a slutty outfit, of course.
Of course, as you should.
And then, and then we became friends through that, started hanging out outside of dance. We did a lot of performances at Flaming Saddles in West Hollywood.
Dude, now it's shut down.
It shut down. And
That's
that
so
was
sad.
a lit place because they had all those shirtless cowboys swinging on ropes. And they had hot girls, like pole dancing.
Yep.
It was like...
And we had to dance like
definitely
on
the
the
spot.
table. Like basically like on a piece of wood. Just
It was
one
like,
piece of wood.
Yeah, like a piece of wood in the middle of the bar. And they always had like a dance-off contest before the show. And I think I won every single one.
Didn't you? Yeah. You did. What did you win, though? Just the honor of winning?
No, I think you won like free bottle service.
Oh,
at
that's
the
right.
end.
That's right. Because I don't remember which one, but I remember I had people in town and we like had a bottle service through that.
Yeah.
And everybody was getting
some,
way too drunk.
It was
way
always
too
some
wild.
like sick, cheap bottle, like Smirnoff or something. And I was like, I have to
Oh,
work
like
in
a
the
whole
morning.
bottle of like vodka? It wasn't just like a champagne bottle?
No, we got a bottle of vodka.
That's crazy.
But
what a fun time.
yeah, and then we became friends, and then that dance crew dissipated, and we are now remaining
buddies with house. We are the only remaining ones.
I don't know. Yeah, that's
okay.
Yeah.
You know, now what are you doing with your life?
What am I doing? So I have a multifaceted career right now.
As you should.
Still dancing, still trying to break into some industry stuff.
Yeah.
Professor at Cal State.
Come on, professor.
Clinical supervisor / temporary clinical director for a company that provides services to kids with autism.
Love that.
Own my own business, doing something similar.
Okay, so the list is just adding.
It's just adding. I don't think we need to go any further.
Okay, yeah.
Also a rapper.
Oh, are you going to spit some skills right here?
No.
Okay, because I was prepared.
But I
was
actually
ready.
do have some raps written in my phone that I'm...
Can you share them with us?
No. I can.
You should share.
Not right now.
Why? That's the whole point.
I don't want anyone to steal my song.
You're right. That's fair. That's okay. Can you share a time that you really feel like you changed and grew while living in LA? Like something
in LA.
Yeah, like something that has happened to you while living in LA that you feel like other people could benefit hearing the story and maybe giving them some advice or tips on their journey through LA.
Okay, yeah, let's do this as like a life lesson.
Okay.
More of a life lesson, but it's very helpful for people like living in LA or moving to LA.
Okay.
So, as you know, but no one else probably knows, I am from the Midwest. So small town, you trust everyone. Everyone's like kind of your friend. And if you don't like someone, like it's very known. Everyone knows everyone's business.
Like small town vibes.
Yeah, so like you trust everyone. Everyone's reliable, whatever. Moving to LA, you find out very quickly that not everyone has your best interest at heart. Everyone's looking for what you can give them, what you have to offer. If you're in their industry, how you're going to help them climb the social ladder. So I've learned through living in LA that you have friends that hold certain positions in your life for that time, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So like I have friends from elementary school, high school, undergrad, even graduate school. I know I can call them for anything, but like in LA, you just need to know where those friends fall. You'll have party friends where you're like, oh, you're looking to go out Saturday night, whatever. You'll have the friends you can call for whatever. I need help, yada, yada. They'll be there for you. You might have friends that are just temporary for like a 6-month period that are just there for that moment in time.
Right.
And you can't be too sensitive to those friendships. I've had a lot of friendships that have like kind of dissolved over the last 5 to 8 years since I've been in LA. And at first I was really mourning the loss of those friendships because I'd never really lost friendships.
Yeah.
So like, it wasn't a bad thing in my life, but it was more of like a growing experience where you learn that these people taught you something and you can use the time you've spent with them to like grow and learn.
Right.
But like you shouldn't be sad that you set boundaries and grew from that relationship, and it might have fallen apart, but it might not necessarily be for a bad reason.
Yeah. How long have you been in LA?
So I have been, it'll be 8 years in September. So like in like 2 months, it'll be 8 years.
Okay, so let's start here. Why did you move to LA?
So initially, I'm from South Dakota. So the entire state of South Dakota is around 800,000 people. So growing up, I was the only person that was out in high school. Well, kind of out, depended on who I was friends with. Like sometimes it was hidden, sometimes it was real. Undergrad, I was out, but there was again like 30 people in my college that identified as like queer.
Yeah.
So that was always something that I had to grow into. Then I lived in South Dakota for a year and a half after school. And again, I lived in the biggest city in the state. And again, there was probably 50 queer people in the whole city. And so yeah, no diversity, even outside of queerness. So I was like, I need diversity. I want to dance more. I want to have more opportunities to like grow into the industry.
Yeah.
I want to have more opportunities. I want to like enhance my craft and be more creative and like be around other people that have like similar passions so I can actually like develop and not be the best person at everything I'm doing.
Right.
In such a small radius. So that's essentially why I moved here in the first place. And then found out very quickly my friend that I moved here with, it was not a good fit for her. She moved back after like 2 weeks, didn't sign the lease, so I couldn't get an apartment, didn't have a job, ended up living out of my car for about 2 months. And then like worked through all of that. And then my other like close friends moved here. So that's kind of like a growing experience. And then from there, it's just kind of been the LA life.
Yeah, like, just now it's the lifestyle.
Yeah.
Now, do you consider this your home?
I do now. It took probably like 5 years.
Really? What made it feel like home?
So the first 3 years I lived with two of my close friends, and it still was like kind of like college lifestyle living.
Close friends from back home.
Close friends from back home.
Yeah.
It was kind of like college living, and then like one of the friends like moved back after like the first year and a half, and so it kind of felt like temporary still. And then I moved in with my other friend, and it wasn't like a permanent home to me. It was like we were sharing a 1 bedroom. It was very like
that's rough.
Dormy still, and I was just like
sharing a 1 bedroom. Care to explain that to the viewers who don't know what sharing a 1 bedroom in Los Angeles means?
In Los Angeles, so like an average for like a 1 bedroom in LA that's not scary as fuck with cockroaches crawling in your ear sockets
or like people outside being crazy.
Yeah, or like it just like a safe 1 bedroom that has like decent amenities. It's like anywhere from like 1,600 probably at the lowest. So when you are moving here with a very small savings and a job making like 40,000 a year, it's not really like appropriate or
not really like suitable, like
it's
sustainable.
It's not a sustainable lifestyle to gain money, try to live your life, and then
save money. Do
also,
any of that.
like work full time. So I was living in a 1 bedroom. So she had the bedroom, and then the living room was divided by a curtain, and then my bed was on one side of the curtain. And then at that time I was also going to graduate school. So it was like most of my money was allocated towards school, and I had 30 hours of clinicals unpaid weekly. So I was only able to work part-time with everything else. So it's not like I had like massive income. So that was like what was most appropriate for me at the time. So then again, it felt very temporary. And now I live in this space.
Thank you for having us.
Yes. And I've been here for about 3 years, and this is like I'm living with my best friend from like childhood, and it really feels like we're like here, we're gonna be here for a while until one of us like either starts dating someone seriously or whatever. But this feels more like permanent, and like people come to visit, and like I don't see myself moving anywhere.
So now maybe that has made it feel like home, is kind of having
it's
like
more homey, it's comfortable. Like I'm excited to come home. Like in my other places I was like, I have to go home, but it's not really like my own space. I don't have a lot of privacy. Like, not that I need privacy. I'm like an open book, whatever. But
but I mean, in LA, it's good to have a space where you can like come home and just like be by yourself sometimes.
Yeah,
because you walk outside and it's like you're hit with so much shit happening. Like people screaming on the road. There's like honking. There's traffic. You're going from one place to another, and you're driving here, and you're doing this. So it's like you want to come home and just be like relaxed.
Exactly.
So that makes sense.
It definitely is that space now. I started a business here, and I'm like seated at the college where I'm like teaching and like running clinicals, and like I have like a career in place that I don't see myself leaving anytime soon. So I think that also makes it feel more like permanent.
Yeah. Is that is this the outcome you were expecting when you first moved here, or how has that like changed?
So like when I first moved here, I was working as a one-on-one therapist for kids with autism, like in the classroom, outside of the classroom, whatever, which anyone in that field knows that unless you're furthering your education, like your income is very low.
Yeah.
It's like a very low like income, especially for this area. It's like you're doing that work because you're passionate about what you're doing and you really are like trying to help people. You're not doing that for the paycheck. So I was doing that, and then I was catering and in the service industry on the side and trying to dance still and like audition for stuff. And like those jobs, like I was getting jobs, but it wasn't like a consistent income where I could like live the lifestyle that I like to live, because I'm obviously a bougie bitch.
Yeah.
So I was like, it's either continue to do this or like go back to school and like significantly raise my income and like the outlook of my life while still being able to pursue the things that I'm doing.
Right.
Or continue to live like, I don't want to say poverty, but like sharing a 1-bedroom, not being able to do all the shit you want to do is like very frustrating, especially living in South Dakota where you can live in a nice 2-bedroom apartment for $600 a month. So
Crazy.
So I definitely just like wanted to enhance my lifestyle and like my quality of life. So I went back to school and I applied to like one of the top programs in the nation. And I was like, if I get in, it's a sign, and I got accepted, and then went through that program and immediately got offered like a really high position at the company I was working at. Shortly after that, I got offered a faculty position at the university that I attended. So it's kind of just been, and I'm not to toot.
No, you should, as you should.
I'm very, very good at working with kids and working with like people with disabilities and working with families and making sure that they feel supported and working with diverse cultures and making sure there's like inclusivity, and that's something I'm very passionate about as well, like diversity, equity, inclusion. I'm on the state board for that as well. I don't know if you even knew that, but
I don't know if I did.
So the state board for applied behavior analysis, which is what my master's degree is, and I'm on the diversity, equity, inclusion committee. So it's essentially enhancing diversity, equity, inclusion within our field, but also making services more available to individuals. So like a lot of lower social economic status families don't know the resources available, or there's like cultural barriers or there's language barriers to get them to access services. So we're kind of like trying to bridge the gap in that, and like more outreach within our field to gain more practitioners and students in the field that come from different backgrounds, so we can provide more adequate support to those families. Yeah.
Okay. Period. And for that, like, where did that whole idea of becoming like your current job now, like, where did that come from? Is that just something that you felt very called to do? Is it something that you felt like other people in your life were doing, or did you go into it thinking about money? Did you go into it thinking about like what made you start that? None of us have it, but
I'm sorry, but like teachers and mental health professionals need to get paid way more.
Yeah, definitely.
So I have 2 cousins that have special needs, and that was like my first exposure from a very young age. And then when I was in middle school, actually, I volunteered. I was like on like in a group or like a club that like paired with like the special ed classroom. So I started working with those individuals like at a very young age. And then I've been working with kids, like in South Dakota you can work at 14. So I was like working with kids in after school programs and summer camps like at 14.
Yeah.
And then in college I was a psych major, and I volunteered at like all the special events around campus, and like was in the psychology club, and most of our like fundraisers were like allocated towards those groups. And then after college I didn't go to my own college graduation. So I went to a dance audition in a different state, and I was like, that was like my plan. I was like, I'm going to go to this audition. I'm going to kill it. I'm the baddest bitch there, period, whatever. And then didn't walk, and then found out I did not get booked for that job.
Oh, man.
Which was whatever. And I was on the dance team at my university, and one of the girls on my dance team had a mom who was a speech therapist in the nearby city, and was like, oh, like I've seen other work you've done. You're like very good at it. We're always looking for people to work here. Like, would you want to try it? And I was like, no, but sure. Like, whatever.
Yeah.
So then I started working at a behavioral health clinic, and kind of like, I was like so good at it. It was like, why am I not doing this? And then I was like, so great seeing all the change and like positive outcomes. And like, I had kids coming in with like severe behavioral deficits and like very big skill deficits and like seeing them test out, not even qualify for service anymore and be able to like be in a general education classroom was like so rewarding. So I was like, whatever, I can keep doing that and also pursue like other things I'm interested in while helping people.
Yeah. Which is that right there, being able to do, you know, kind of this quote unquote day job or this like quote unquote something that like, how did you learn to balance this like 9-to-5 lifestyle and also going after your passions? Because I think a lot of people get too wrapped up in their 9-to-5 and they say like, one day I'm going to start my business. One day I'm going to do this. Like, how did you do that?
I think that's something that the next generation, not that I'm like so old, but the next generation is like missing. Like people don't want to do hard work anymore. People don't want to like throw down. They want everything handed to them and they want like the quick solution. Like, and that's part of like technology advances and also like the society we've kind of like developed, like AI and TikTok and all these things are making it so easy to become so rich like overnight. Like these TikTok influencers are making like millions of dollars from just like overnight. And like kids see them, they're like, oh, I just want to do that. Like it's so easy, it's fast money. Like you can live this like lavish lifestyle, but like you're not seeing everything that's going into like a lot of the stuff these creators are doing. And like some of it's luck. And so like let's not knock that. That's the thing, is like it is possible to get that following or get that overnight success, but that is very slim. Yeah. Like that really is very slim, and that's just what we see, but we don't like actually we don't see all the behind the scenes that takes to get you there. I mean, but like for example, like Alex Earl, like love her. I like followed her from like the very beginning. She's super hot, whatever. She's so funny, like super relatable, but like she just like started posting like get ready with me, like talking, and part of it's probably obviously to do with her being like very societally pretty. Like I don't know what's the term I'm trying to say, but I don't want to say that's luck either, but like she just posted like being herself and blew up overnight, and now she's making like millions of dollars per post. Yeah. Like I mean, and it just kind of put on lip gloss. Yeah, that's lit, but that's not realistic. Like, and that's great for her, and that's great for people that have that success. But like, you are working hard to be in that position. You know, you do post, you do make your videos, you consistently are taking classes and like growing and doing all those things, and you're not expecting overnight success. So like, what do you think can get people out of that overnight success? I think that people need to focus more on like working hard and like setting goals. So like so this is something that I'm probably gonna get roasted for, especially by you, but everyone's like, ooh, manifest this. I manifested this. And like to me, I'm like, okay, bitch, like you can say you're manifesting shit, but unless you're like doing like solid like goal setting and taking like objective, measurable, achievable steps to like get to where you want to go, like I don't like the people on TikTok that are like, oh my God, I'm like manifesting. I'm like, if you're just like speaking it, expecting it to happen, but you're not like putting any work in, like manifestation isn't shit. Like you can't just like say that. Manifesting, I believe in, and I think that it's real. But are you just saying it? No, I'm putting in the effort behind it. I'm not just saying, okay, I want to be a rich person. I'm like, what can I do? Like, I am a rich girl. It's like, I mean, but I'm not a rich girl. Like, at the end of the day, I look at my bank account and I have $2. You know, like, I mean, that's not real. But it's a joke. But I'm saying, like, you have Gumball queen. But you have to, like, I agree with what you're saying. But I also think that there is an element of manifesting that can be true if you're putting in the work. It's setting the precedence to achieve your goals, but without the work behind it, it's stupid. So like people on TikTok are fucking just saying this shit and they're not doing anything. It's like this girl that lives in like North Carolina and she's like, I'm gonna be America's next top model. I'm bitch, how you gonna do it? I live in North Carolina. What the fuck? Here we are. I just threw out a random state. No, I know. I'm just kidding. But I do think that like the manifesting thing is a little placebo effect. You know, like I think as long as you have to be putting in the work to be able to see your results. Let me throw out another example. Okay, so like Harry Jousey, shout out. Hey, if you want to hit me up, I think we both live in Hollywood. Oh wow. Going straight to it. He was on like Too Hot to Handle. Yeah. But he did an interview and he like talked about manifesting a lot. And which interview? Do you remember? I've only seen the Call Her Daddy one that he was on. I don't think it was Call Her Daddy, but okay. I think I don't really listen to stuff like that, but my roommate was telling me about it, but I don't know, whatever. Okay. So Harry Jousey talks about manifesting a lot, but then if you hear his backstory, he's not just like saying it and then it's like, oh, he said it out loud and manifested it. So it became like, he was like, I literally applied to like 10 reality shows every single day and I would plan to do the most outlandish acts when I would get into these interviews, so that they had like no choice but to book me, or they're like, this guy's a crazy fuck, like we can't not pick him.
Yeah.
So like he's speaking it into existence, manifesting, but he's
on
there's active like an active plan and goals and like things he's putting into place to achieve it. So like I just can't stand the shit when it's like bitches are like, I'm manifesting, but it's like, oh, I manifested it, and then you walked into the mall and then some random guy was like, oh, you're pretty, do you want to be on my music video? So I manifested this. That's not fucking real.
It can.
That's called luck.
But if they're putting the work in behind.
I know, but I'm just saying, like, when those people were like, I manifested it, and then you randomly ran into like an agent shopping at the Beverly Hills Mall. So no, I don't think that manifesting. So I don't think it's fake, but I think manifesting with no acts behind it is like weird. It's like when people are like,
and that's,
oh, my spirit guide told me to do it. Huh?
I mean.
Okay, we have different opinions.
Yeah, and that's fine. Like, that's why we're having this conversation, because I feel like this is the thing that's missed the mark in. Wow, sorry. That's the thing. That's the thing that's missed the mark on all levels, because the people that are on the spiritual side and understand like the actual action and the work that goes into actually making that happen are not the people being like, yeah, I just manifested it and it happened. It's like, I mean, yeah, I agree. Like, okay, if we're talking about the person that I worked with, I wrote that down on my chart and I said, number 14, work with X, Y, and Z. And then the next year it happened. But it's because I went out of my way to make sure I was taking the classes and reaching out and like actively putting in the work behind that to get myself seen and noticed. Those steps.
You're not just saying it.
But I did write it down.
Fall into your lap.
And I do consider that me manifesting it, because that is what manifestation is. You write it down and you put action into that and you believe that it's already happened.
What is the operational definition of manifestation?
Do you want to Google it?
Google it.
Let's Google it.
An event, action, or object that clearly shows or embodies something, especially a theory or abstract idea. Okay, that's not what I meant. The action or fact of showing an abstract idea, the manifestation of anxiety. Okay, what the hell? Okay, whatever. I'm not reading this shit. It's stupid. I'm annoyed.
Oh, because you're wrong? Or
I'm not wrong.
So read it, the definition.
No, it wasn't giving definitions.
Let me see the phone.
No, it was giving. No, it's whatever. While she's like searching that fake thing.
The fake thing. Shut up.
I think that it is part of achieving your goals. It's like making a, what are those boards called?
A vision board.
It's like making a vision board. Like you're setting your initial goals and your aspirations, but without the work behind it, it's nothing. So like, I believe that is a good step. But what I am saying is, when people are just saying it, like the thing that's being preached on TikTok is like, oh, just say it, speak it into existence. Everyone is just gonna randomly
like
happen.
The lucky girl syndrome.
That's what's fucking happening with all these social media bitches. Like like this girls are like, oh, I just like said it every morning and then it just randomly happened. Nah, bitch. Okay. What were you doing? Your dad fucking worked at fucking HBO and then you got a job at HBO? No, you didn't manifest that shit. It's called fucking. Your dad works there. I forgot the word. Called? What's it called when your parent? Nepotism.
Yeah, okay. I was like, I don't
Nepo
think I
baby. Nepo bitches are real.
Let's see. Okay, let's just see like what this says. It says, and this is about manifestation and the law of attraction.
Okay.
So, which is,
I invented the law of attraction, bitch.
All right. Manifestation and law of attraction are two concepts that have. Okay, wait. We don't need to do all that. They're both based on the idea that thoughts and emotions have the power to shape our reality. It's not magic, woo-woo, or any kind of trickery. It is not some kind of complicated ritual, and it does not require the use of spells or to join a cult. It's a universal law that works without interference, similar to the law of gravity. So the law of attraction is a belief that states that like attracts like. And the definition of law of attraction is that you will attract whatever you focus on in your life. So what I'm saying is that it is a lot of this placebo effect of like, if you tell yourself that if you tell yourself that you're going to be successful, you are going to be successful. As long as you're putting in the work to be successful, you will have no other choice but to be successful, because your emotions and your actions are aligned, and so you change your reality. That's the whole point.
What was that last sentence you said?
I don't know how I said it. Run it back.
Not that. Run it back, bitch.
The most basic definition of the law of attraction is that you will attract whatever you focus on into your life.
Yeah, so again, that's the part that I was saying I agree with, is when you're focusing on something specific and you're like working towards it, That's one thing. But the problem I have is that people on social media are like, I just say this every morning and then it randomly happened to me. That's the thing I have a problem with. Because these little kids and like teenagers are seeing that shit and they're just like, oh, if I just talk about it every day, I can just like get it and it's just going to happen and I don't have to put any work in. That's the issue I have.
Yeah, and that's fair because I believe that like that's why I'm a big like shadow work journal or like psychology get to.
What's shadow work?
Where you like uncover your subconscious beliefs that are holding you back, and that's the way that you can then go forward and change your reality. Because if you say I want to have $1 million and you say I have $1 million, I'm manifesting $1 million, but your subconscious belief is that you don't deserve money and that money is hard to get and that money does not come easily to you, you will never get that success. You will never get that money. Because your subconscious belief is what creates your reality. So you have to go in and figure out where all of this subconscious belief of like money is hard, I don't deserve money, da-da-da-da. You have to undo that, reframe it, and then change your affirmations to move forward and manifest what you actually want, which is money.
Okay, but that's also like an individual person's insecurities about their own life and what they don't think they deserve.
But manifesting isn't about other people. It's about you manifesting things for yourself.
Okay.
You know?
Sure. Everything you're saying, though, can be broken down into, like, behavioral,
yeah, it is.
like, measurable, observable things. So, like, again, like, why do you have this learning history of thinking that you don't deserve those things? So, like, breaking it down in that sense.
Yeah, it's, like, psychology-based. That's why the law of attraction and manifesting is actually more about, like, science and psychology than spiritual and woo-woo
It
things.
is, but I don't think a lot of people know that side of it.
And that's why we're here today.
Okay. Well, if we need to break it down more behaviorally, let me know.
Yeah,
okay.
well, no.
But back to your original thing, the hard work. So, like, so that was the original question. Like, how do you manage all these different things? Like, whatever. So, essentially, my family, I grew up in a very small town, but, like, my family was not super wealthy.
Mm-hmm.
Most people would say.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of my friends were very wealthy. So, from a very young age, I learned, like, if I wanted to do things that my friends were doing, I had to pay for it myself. So, from the age of probably 12 or 13, I had jobs. Like, I cleaned my mom's beauty salon. My mom worked at a beauty salon. I cleaned her beauty salon, got paid. Or, like, I would save up my chore money or, like, gifts or whatever. And my bank account was stacked, bitch, by middle school.
Oh, okay.
So when my friends wanted to do shit, my parents were like, we don't have money to send you. I'd be like, hey, I'll pay for it on my own. I don't care. It's, like, big thing in the Midwest is to go out of town to, like, state basketball, like, state hockey. Like, you get a hotel room with your friends for the weekend. You're, like, independent and your parents are staying in a different hotel, like whatever.
Oh yeah.
You can secretly like drink on the side,
living the dream,
flirt with boys, even though everyone's straight. Right?
Let's not get into that.
So yeah, so from a very young age, I learned how to manage school, sports, extracurriculars, working, friends. Like I learned that from like a very young age, and then in college, I was like captain of my college dance team. So we had like 20 plus hours of practice a week. We're performing every week. Had to do appearances, parades, whatever it may be. And then I was still working.
Very busy.
Full-time student. So that was that. And then and then after college, I had multiple jobs again. And then I moved to LA, had multiple jobs, then worked all the way through grad school. And then I graduated grad school. And then COVID hit. And then again, working multiple jobs. So it's kind of just like majorly a time management thing, a critical thinking skill.
Like learning time management is important.
Learning time management from a very young age.
Yeah.
Learning critical thinking skills.
Yeah.
Learning how to access your resources. Like
I think that's a big one. I think a lot of people don't know because they're afraid or whatever to ask for help or ask for guidance or ask for mentors or X, Y, and Z. But that really is where a lot of success, I think, comes from.
It is for sure, because if you don't know how to ask for help, and that was something that I had a very hard time with, is asking for help. I wanted to be independent. I don't want to have to depend on anyone. I don't want anyone to think I'm weak. So like that is a skill that I've only developed probably in the last 2 years, where I'm like, I don't fucking know. I'm going to ask somebody. You know?
And how did you get to that discovery?
I had to get over it. I had to like bite my pride.
Yeah.
And be like, sometimes it's more important to ask for help than to struggle and get it wrong or struggle to do it on yourself. Like work smarter, not harder.
Right.
So again, like that's something I had to develop. That's something I teach my students now, because a lot of people, like if you never ask, you're never going to get it. So like people that, and you guys know this being in the dance industry, like sometimes you get booked just based on who you know or like the way you look. It has nothing to do with who's the most talented. It literally has to do with your relationship with people selecting or the way you look. So if you don't know anyone, but you're the best, like on paper, you're the best, but you don't know anyone, you might not get picked.
You might never get picked.
And it has nothing to do with your talent or your skill or your personality. It literally has to know with like, it has everything to do with who you met, when you met them, and like your relationship with that person.
Yeah, networking is a skill. And that is a skill you have to have in LA as well. I mean, anywhere, but really in LA, to get where you need to go, you have to be good at talking to people, making friends, being genuine, not being fake, being an actual genuine human being. And that normally leads you to the jobs you actually want. If you're fake, you'll probably be on jobs that you don't actually want.
But again, too, you got to be able to identify the fake. Because, like, if I'm a bitch that'll talk to anyone. Like, if you come up to me and you're like trying to be nice, whatever, I'll talk to you.
Yeah.
But like, you also have to know like who's coming to talk to you to get something out of you, and like what the function of that is. Because like Michael and I are really nice. Like, we'll invite everyone. We'll buy whoever shots at the bar. Like we talk to everyone, and then people will take advantage of that, or other people will see that as like, oh, whatever. But in LA, that's the first question you get asked usually. Well, I don't know if they're like, what do you do for work?
Yep.
Oh, you're in that industry. How many followers do you have on Instagram? And it's like, oh, you have 5,000. Okay, nice meeting you. I have to go pee. Like, it's
and
so
if you really think about that, Kira and I were talking about that today. If you had 5,000 people in a room just looking at you, that's a lot of people.
That's a lot.
So why do people act like that's not a big following? Like, that's a significant amount. Even if those are just personal people that you've met and become friendly with and like have this following, like that's a significant amount of people.
It's because like Michael was telling me this. It's like you're considered a micro influencer if it's under 100,000, but if you actually think about it from like an outside perspective, like the 5,000 or whatever, those aren't probably like fans, it's more like people that you know.
Right.
Whereas like once you get to like maybe like 10,000 plus, that start growing a following of more like admirers or people that are interested in like you as like a personality, not necessarily like just like a friend.
Right. Yeah.
So like I think that's more of like they want people who have a big following already, so that it's less work for them to do like advertising, and they get more like engagement. And so it's like I get it from a business perspective, but also like if I'm filming a music video, I'm not gonna pick the bitch that I know if she sucks, if I know like 10 other bitches that are way better.
Yeah.
Like my friends are obviously probably gonna be in it somewhere, but like I want it to look the best it's gonna look.
Right. Yeah.
I don't know. But to expand on that, like the first like 3 like music events that I booked in LA, so like Keke Palmer, I booked like the second week I lived here, literally got offered the job from a guy that I matched with on Hinge because he thought I was like cute. And he was like, oh, I'm friends with Keke Palmer. She's like wants dancers for her music video. Do you want to be in it? And I was like, sure.
And that's networking in its finest.
And it was literally because I was cute. I was like, cool. Whatever, bitch.
That's why I hope people don't get discouraged when they come to LA, because you got to really want to do it for you and not do it for...
Honestly, my biggest advice is know where to hang. If you're just coming here to work and you are trying to meet the right people, know where those people hang out. Follow them on Instagram. If you're trying to do reality, if you're trying to do TV, like know where the producers hang out. Actually take the right classes where you've seen like, okay, this person booked all these dancers. They were taking class a lot from this person.
Do your research.
Go to those classes. Yep. If you're trying to be on a reality show, like know what they're looking for, like know where those casting producers hang out, like know like the type of character they're casting for. Even TV shows, like know the acting classes those people that they normally take are taking classes at. And like it's more about like knowledge of like what you're applying to and how you present yourself rather than like your actual skill. Yeah.
It's not an easy feat to live in LA, that's for sure.
Yeah.
That is...
I rested on my pretty face for too long.
Yeah, and see, I think a lot of people do that when they come here. They come with their talent and their looks, but they lack social skills.
Well, I don't lack that.
I know, I'm not saying you. I said other people. I did not say you.
I didn't think you were talking about me.
But it's just a very crucial, and I like that point about doing your research, basically. Because that's something I didn't do. I just kind of like came here and just was like, let me willy-nilly it and see what happens.
I've been doing that too.
But like, what, willy-nilly or research?
No, I really didn't take advantage of my resources. It's like so much work, but like for example, like Vanderpump Rules, that TV show. So like if I wanted to be on Vanderpump Rules and I was really motivated to be on that show, I would be going to like Sir Lounge and Pump, and like I would be figuring out like where all those people normally like drink and go out, and I would literally make it a point to like go to those places and make it like my regular place, and then I would meet them and then I'd become friends with them, because let's be real, every bitch likes me, and I would be drama as fuck on that show.
You heard it here first. Everybody loves Charles.
But I'm not like thirsty like that, or like annoying enough to like be like, I'm gonna make it a point to go to these bars so I can run into these people to randomly become friends with me.
So maybe you don't want it that bad.
Or
not in a bad way, but like
I'm not going to be fake or go out of my way to try to become friends with people to get what I want.
Yeah.
Like if I meet you naturally and like we become friends and then like
you have an
transpires
opportunity
into that, like cool, awesome, like whatever, I will consider and weigh my pros and cons then. But I'm not going to go out of my way to force a friendship or force something if it's like not occurring like naturally. Like I'm not going to go out of my way to like try to be friends with you to get something out of you, like most people in LA. But like if I met you at the club or like whatever and we were like, oh, let's take a shot, and then we end up talking and then it was cool and then I vibed with you and then you invited me to your house and then we actually became friends. Cool, awesome, like I would consider it. But I'm not gonna like I could go to Sir. It's 10 minutes from my house. I could go there fucking every single night. I could get a spot at the bar. I could post
build those
up.
connections.
I could flirt with whoever's on that show.
Yeah.
I could be like, hey girl, what's up? Like, what's good? Like I could whatever.
Yeah, like you could go.
I could try harder to be on that show, but if it's not occurring naturally, then I feel fake about it and it's weird and I'm not trying to do that shit.
Yeah.
But like I'm saying,
and you're staying true to yourself.
A lot of people in LA do that shit.
Yeah.
And it's fucking weird to me. I don't know. Don't be fake about it. Like go after what you want, but
yeah, I agree.
Fake as fuck. And then that's why like people go on that show, they're like start dating people on that show to like be on the show, and then it like doesn't work out, or they're like on for one season. I'm like, you're boring as shit. I don't even watch that show anymore. I got bored, sorry. But
yeah,
I do like
never
Lala.
watched
Hey,
it,
Lala.
but which is fine. I don't know. I'm not really a reality TV girly, but
I am. They're pitching me to Netflix.
Hell yeah, dude. We just talked about something that we can't share right now, but if it happens, we'll tell you guys. But right there is you putting in your manifesting abilities and also putting in the hard work of going after something. And, you know, maybe this won't be it, but this now has given you like a taste of what you want and you're going to keep going. And that's the difference between manifesting that versus trying to manifest Vanderpump Rules when you're like not really that into it.
Yeah, I mean, and there are people on that show that I like can see myself being friends with, but again, I'm not going to be like fake and go out of my way to try to make friendships if they're not occurring naturally, because again, fake, weird, like it's not, I don't know. But for that show specifically, I was applying to a lot of shows, and then like I applied, and then they reached out to me for like an interview, and before the interview, I literally like binge watched an entire season and like thought about strategies and like made lists and like got my character into place so that I could be as good as I could possibly be in the interview, being myself still, but like having a strategy, using my clinical brain and also like craziness. But
yeah, and that's the example right there, is like actually putting in the work behind manifesting.
Yeah,
it's like,
for sure.
I mean, that's you manifesting it. And even like you living in South Dakota and moving here, like that's also you manifesting something. Like if you said you wanted to live in LA and you put in the work, like that's you manifesting. You also got it by doing it physically.
Oh, yes, I did.
But see, you're just as woo-woo as me.
Woo-woo, bitch.
Woo-woo.
Oh, my God. Okay, wait, how about I ask you a question?
Oh, yeah, let's get into this section where now Charles gets to ask me questions, and I am not prepared. I don't know what he's going to ask me.
Okay, so, my first question is going to be, what was the hardest relationship that you ended, and how did you recover from it?
Oh, wow. That's a deep one. Definitely my 6-year-long situationship that I was putting in a lot of energy into and was not being reciprocated. And I think I stayed in that relationship because I didn't have my own self-worth at the time. So him not treating me well was a reflection of me not treating myself well. And then I finally went through a healing process of like understanding that I deserve better and I don't deserve to be hanging out with an alcoholic that wants to push me out of the window. And
out the window? What the hell?
Yeah, there was one moment where
hopefully it was only the first floor.
No, it was the second floor. And he was threatening to throw me out the window, and that was when it hit me like, why the fuck am I in this situationship? It wasn't even a relationship. And I got all my stuff out. I was like living with him for a second. I got all my stuff out. I left him a note, and I never have talked to him again. And I think it's like what we all talk about, which is like, you can't help somebody who doesn't want to be helped.
Yeah.
So I had a lot of friends be like, you can do better. You deserve better. And I was like, oh, no, he's going to change his mind. It's going to be different. It's going to be fine. Ew. And then I realized you can't change people because they have to want to change themselves. And
so why do you think you stayed for 6 years?
Because I didn't have self-worth for 6 years.
Was the dick that good?
No.
Was he paying you free stuff?
No.
Was he the only person you knew in that town?
No, we didn't even live in the same town. I was just holding on to a glimmer of hope that I one
Atlanta?
time had from him. He like one time told me I was his soulmate. One time told me he was, liked me. One time told me I'd make a great girlfriend. I was holding on to these breadcrumbs that he was serving me.
Yeah, girl, that's called gas. No, that's not gaslighting. But
Breadcrumbing.
Okay.
I think.
So this is another thing that I've learned through like dating in LA. Like men, I can't even say this because I'm such a fuckboy. But boys like tell you what you want to hear because they know it'll like hook you in and keep you. But if there's not action behind it, like you can't continue. So
yeah.
I'm doing all of my dating now based on actions and not words. Like if you're telling me shit, like cool, hot, whatever, I'd love to hear it.
Yeah.
Unless you're following through with what you're saying, you ain't shit, bitch.
Right. Period.
It's like that fucking song.
I had no idea.
SZA song.
Which song?
Bitches ain't shit. It's not bitches. It's another word, but we can't say that word.
Okay. All right. Well, yes. Related to that, though, I have now going forward realized, like through lots of therapy, that I used to date just the person that was in front of me rather than like getting to know people, which is like very silly. I know now looking at it, I'm like, girl, what were you doing? But it's true. Like I look back at all of my past relationships and it's because this person was like giving me attention and giving me validation and giving me the things that I was lacking in myself. Yeah. And I was just picking these people and dating them and trying to make them who I wanted them to be rather than accepting them for who they are. And so now going forward, I'm like, I just want to get to know people. Like, I'm not even interested in dating. If the right person comes along and we vibe and it works, like, fantastic. But I've been, like, forcing a lot of relationships to happen that should have just been friendships. You know what I mean? Like, that was one of the things I realized, too, because at the time, before he was, like, threatening to push me out of the whatever, I like redid my values and I like started to understand my values, and my number one value that I need other people in my life to value as well is literally just self-awareness. And so at some point I realized that he was so unaware of his shit, and it just hit me like,
isn't that so hard when it's a grown-ass man and he doesn't even have any self-awareness? Like,
I mean, that's
literally everything could be resolved if you put the toilet seat down. It's that easy, bitch.
It's crazy. And it's also, they're also self-sabotaging and they're also putting themselves through shit, and they're like being people that they know I know that they can do better. Like, I just know people can do better. But the problem is there's a lot of psychological things that are going on, and those subconscious beliefs of like, I genuinely believe sometimes like people self-sabotage their own relationships.
Yeah, I agree.
By literally doing things that they know will end the relationship.
Yeah. Or they're testing you to see how far they can push it to see if you'll still stay to like support them through the rest of the life. Yeah. No, for sure.
Like at some point this man like told me, like I was trying to help him. I'm not going to disclose what exactly I was trying to help him, but I was trying to help him like reframe his brain a little bit on something that was causing him stress. And at some point I was like, you can just like stop yourself from thinking that thought and like change the thought and like move on. And he's like, that's so fucking stupid. Like, you can't change your mind like that. Like, you don't control your mind. And I was like, okay. Like, you can.
You need to give him more like objective, measurable ways to do that though. Because just telling someone that, it's like, you can't change the thoughts that are popping into your head, but you can quickly interrupt them and retrain your brain to tell itself other things, but that takes a lot of practice.
But that's what I told him. I wasn't like just saying like, you can change your mind. I was like, this is how you change your mind. And he's like, no, that's literally stupid. That's not how it works. And I was like, okay. Like, I'm not going to argue with him. I'm not going to argue with anyone anymore, because I know that you're able to change your mind, because I've changed my mind and I've changed things and patterns and behaviors. And I know that it's possible, because like I've been on a very rough path my entire life, and like have gone from somebody who was blacking out in high school, wanted the validation and wanted to feel like the party girl and wanted to feel liked and valued and accepted. And it took me a really long time to finally be like, no, like I need to just validate myself, and I need to like...
Yeah, you got to think about why you're wanting those things.
Exactly. And now I've, through therapy, have come to those conclusions and know that I don't need to be like putting myself through literal hell to get people to like me.
You also probably needed to figure out where that validation came from.
Yeah.
Like, your self-worth was coming from probably like attention from boys at that time. I don't know. Just whatever.
And just the person that was in front of me.
Yeah.
Just the first
Yeah,
person.
boys are fucking weird, but I am one, so I can't say much.
Yeah, so I'll probably date women now, but they're probably just as
I would rather date.
challenging.
I wish I liked girls more. I like some girls.
Yeah. I mean, everybody has problems, so that's at the end of the day. Like, doesn't matter if you're bi, straight, gay, whatever. Like, people are going to be people in every capacity. People are just
Okay.
people.
So now that we're speaking about this, why are boys so fucking scared of me? Is it me or are boys just pussies in general?
You're intimidating. I've told you this before.
I know. I had this conversation with my friends this last weekend, but I don't see it.
What do you mean you don't
I'm
see
so.
it?
I feel like
That's the problem, Charles.
Fuck. I feel like, honestly, I feel like I'm like very approachable. I'm very like kind.
Yeah,
like
once
unless
you
I'm
get
like blackout drunk and I'm like in a bitch mode, or I got in a fight with someone earlier in the day and I'm like just sour and I don't want to talk to anyone. Like I'm very welcoming and like sweet and like generous, and I feel like I'm very approachable.
Okay, so what's the issue?
For example, we went to the beach the other weekend, like 2 weeks ago, and there's these boys sitting next to us we were probably at the beach for 6 hours. They were sitting next to us the entire time, and then as they are picking up to leave, the guy goes, "Oh, I've been watching you all day. I saw you playing football. I wanted to come play with you." And I was like, "So why don't you come play?" I don't get it. And he was like, "I don't know. I was scared to ask you." And I'm like, "Okay." And then he was like, but like, "What's your name?" Like, "Oh, yeah." And then he like introduced himself as he was leaving, so we could like run away. Like, what the fuck is that about? This grown ass man, he's probably 40. Like, what is so scary?
I mean, people are insecure. They don't want to be rejected.
But
so, like,
if you're that scared of fucking rejection, then how are you going to ever get what you want if you're scared to ask or go for it?
I mean, yeah, that's their issue. That's not yours.
And if that's your fucking problem, it's never going to work, bitch, because you can't be scared of me.
And that's the thing. Like,
you're scared of me, you're scared of a lot of things.
You are single still because nobody is able to, like, meet you at your level.
Ooh, I like that.
But, like, for real, like, that's the whole, like, woo-woo vibrational stuff. It's like all these people, if they're, like, scared and intimidated by you, like, they're not, like, reaching your level.
That's okay. I like it. It's true. But,
like, and not in the way where, like, they're shitty people, but,
yeah.
like, just in the way of, like, it wouldn't work because if they're so insecure, like, you are so confident that you can't have somebody that's insecure.
Agree.
You know, that's the whole objection.
Okay, so I mean, I'm obviously not going to change anything about myself to like become more approachable, but like it's not. I don't know. I feel like do I need to be like?
No, because that's fake. We just talked about it being.
I know.
Not
I can't.
being fake, so you can't do that. You have to just wait until the right person.
Like lie.
You have to wait till the right person comes around.
Yeah.
That isn't insecure and isn't that like can actually handle and like be able to keep up with you.
These old bitches though can't. These old bitches are even
because nobody goes to therapy. Nobody works on themselves. Nobody knows anything about themselves, so they're just scared. They're insecure and they're scared.
Well, if you're listening to this and you're a little grown, hit me up.
And actually in therapy, then hit them up. Or at least working on yourself. You don't have to be in therapy to change your perspective and your outlook on life. Like, there are tools and ways. If you literally Google, like, how to heal on YouTube or TikTok, you can come...
AI now. Chat GPT it.
Yeah, that's a therapy. There you go. Get your little journal. Write your feelings out. There is nothing wrong with writing your feelings and telling yourself that you're insecure. Like, you don't have to be insecure the rest of your life. Like, you can change that. You don't have to live the same way you've lived your entire life.
Fake it till you make it. Manifest.
That's my favorite thing to do.
That's your new podcast.
Fake it till you make it.
Manifest.
Hashtag manifest.
Okay, so my other question, I'm going to ask you one more question.
Okay.
How do you think your time in LA shaped your personality? Like, do you think that it changed you? Do you think it helped you just like realize more about yourself? Do you think you changed yourself to try to fit into the LA lifestyle? Like, I know everyone wants to move to LA. Everyone sees LA as like this fantasy land.
Yeah.
How did you keep grounded and what did that look like?
I feel like I always knew that I was like different and I wanted to like not be in North Carolina, and I didn't want to subscribe to the idea of like getting a degree, getting a house, having a boyfriend, having a husband, getting baby, blah, blah, blah. And so I think moving here like opened my eyes to the fact that I don't have to live like that and I don't have to be like that. So that really changed my perspective on like life as an overall picture. But I do believe that I tried to change to fit in to Hollywood in the beginning. because
In what way?
physically, like
Okay.
I was dyeing my hair, I was cutting my hair, I was trying to wear certain outfits that made me feel uncomfortable just because I was like, well, other people were wearing it, so that's probably what I'm supposed to be wearing. And I was trying to buy like name brand things because that's on the outside in LA. It does look like that sometimes.
Yeah.
But then I realized that the problem did lie like within me, and I had to do a lot of personal work. And now I'm like, I don't mind going out in LA without makeup on or a baggy t-shirt because I'm like, that's just who I am. I'm not going to be somebody that's doing extremes to make myself look a certain way to fit an image when like I am my own image. Like I don't need to be somebody else. So I think that it helped me expand who I am in a more holistic way than if I had stayed in Raleigh, North Carolina. I think I would have resorted to that marrying someone really young. Like I thought I was going to have a kid when I was 23. Like that has completely changed.
Girl,
like,
that sounds awful.
So
23?
I do, yeah. And that was like, because I grew up in this environment where people were like, you're going to be a teacher, you're going to be a great mom, you're going to be this, you're going to be that. Wow, is it really that hard of a story to listen to that you have to get?
No, sorry. My glass was empty.
It was like a hard thing in the beginning to, in the moment, I didn't realize I was doing that. Like, I didn't realize because it's like, I think like even like you, I just feel like there was at some point where I would notice that when I would lose weight, you would say I looked really pretty, which is like really
but
deep.
Is that something, was that really true, or was that something that you just thought?
That's what I'm saying. I think that I always would hear those comments.
But you would relate it to that.
Yes.
Even though it might not have been true.
Yes.
Okay.
And I think that like I put too much emphasis on my body and my weight and and my like hair. And I remember like one of my other friends, he was like, oh, I like when your hair is short. All my other friends were like, I like when your hair is long. I like when your hair is light. I like when your hair, and like I was
How do you like it?
Exactly. And that's where I'm at now, where I'm like, I just want to look how I want to look, and I don't want to be like asking other people for their validation and their opinion, because I honestly don't care. Because what's for me will be for me, no matter what I look like, as long as I'm being who I am.
Okay.
So
but
I'm glad I moved
so I'm still gonna ask you. I'm gonna do what I want, but I'm still gonna ask.
Yeah.
Do you think it's cute?
Exactly. So now I don't like seek that validation, but I think if I still stayed in Raleigh, North Carolina, and I had never moved, I would have just lived in a much different headspace than I do now.
Yeah.
LA like expanded my mind a little bit to see that like there are lots of options and lots of people, and you don't have to be stuck in one box if you think you have to be. You don't.
Yeah, and I do think that everyone should live in a big city at least just 6 months of their life.
Or just get out of your hometown, because I think too it's really hard to grow and change and heal yourself when you're still living in your hometown. Because I then moved back to my hometown after living in LA for like 6 years and traveling the world for 2. And that was a reality check. I had to go back to every place that's ever caused me trauma, and I had to think about all these things, and I had to think about all of this, my whole childhood. I had to think about everything, and I had to heal all of that because I tried to avoid it for so long. I like ran away from it.
Yeah.
And I came back, and I have now faced it, and now I actually like enjoy Raleigh, and I enjoy living there, and I enjoy my friends, and I because all of my friends too, like because now Raleigh's becoming a bigger city, there are people from like other places coming and living there, and it is expanding the horizon of options. It's not just like engineers and teachers that are living there.
Maybe I should come visit Raleigh.
Yeah, you should. Come visit me.
But again, that also comes back to like your learning history and what you were taught from a very young age. Like that's the same thing in South Dakota. Like everyone's taught, like you grow up in South Dakota, you go to the small school, you go to a state school. In the state, you graduate, you meet your college, you marry your college boyfriend, you have a kid. Everyone's married with kids in a home by like 23 to 25. Mm-hmm. And it's just like not realistic, and like you don't really know yourself. But I also understand like growing with the person that you're married to. But like, how do you know what you like? How do you know what else is out there? How do you know what you deserve if you've only like dated like 3 people or like high school and college? Yeah, like there's so many more options and so many other venues and avenues to explore. Like it's just like wild to me. And I mean, obviously I didn't have the option to like date a hot high school or college sweetheart, and like so that wasn't even an option for me. But even dating now, I'm like, you're boring me.
But also, like here, that's the prime example is like now you at least have more of an opportunity to be able to go out and meet people, because this is a bigger city with people that are allowed to be themselves a little bit more.
For sure.
So, Charles, thank you so much for being one of my first podcast guests.
You're welcome.
Did you have fun?
I did have fun. It was a good catch.
Were you nervous?
No.
Yeah, of course not. Because you're a reality TV show star already.
Oh my God,
let's keep manifesting that.
Hey, let me talk about Wipeout quickly.
Okay, yeah, go ahead.
So literally, so I went on Wipeout, that like competition water show where you like win whatever $25,000. But we competed and then found out after that we had COVID while we were competing.
No.
So like I ran the course and I was like, like dying.
Ow.
Like it felt like I was gonna pass the fuck out. And then I got to the end and like the Camille's like one of the hosts.
Yeah.
That like hot girl.
Mm-hmm.
That was like a former like NFL or NBA cheerleader or something. She's super cool. She was super nice. But like I literally passed out on the platform and she was like trying to interview me and I like forgot where I was for a second. I was like, bitch, I gotta catch my breath. Like stop talking to me.
Give me a second.
Yes. And then I literally found out after they called us the next day and they were like, your rapid test was negative, but we got like your, what is it, PCR?
Yeah.
PCR test.
Yeah.
And like you had COVID. And it's like me and the girl I was competing with were both like super athletic. So I was like, not meanly, like that course is hard, but there's no reason I should have been like we couldn't, like we went to shower after because you like get fall in the mud and stuff. And like we couldn't breathe for like an hour.
That's horrible.
It was like rough. And then I was like, oh, that's why, because we had fucking COVID.
And you both had it.
We both had it. And
that's crazy.
Girl, I was sore. I don't even like play with y'all. I was sore for probably a week, but I also was getting like punched off of like a 20-foot ledge into like a 3-inch mud pit. So,
wow. What a time.
It was so fun, though.
But we're already getting the taste of your TV personality, so I can't wait to see what you have in store for next. Can you let everybody know where they can follow you?
Yes. So my handle on everything, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, is Charles _ I'm tasty.
And can you give us a little taste of what's coming next for Charles?
Yeah, so I do have a few shows that I may or may not be on coming up in the near future.
Okay, period.
I am going to leave that a mystery.
Yeah, I love that.
But
we'll have to bring it back if it happens. When it happens, because we're manifesting it. Bye, y'all. Stay tuned for the next show.
Peace and chicken grease.
Yep. Peace and chicken grease.